Welcome to Linux Saloon, a place to discuss tech, open source, and where Linux is always on tap. Each show will have a talk about Linux projects such as Linux distribution, desktop environment, or application. We also chat about the news or any variety of topics from the community. Anything that is Linux tech and open source related is on the table for discussion. I'm Nate, a Linux fitness and vintage tech enthusiast with an almost unhealthy obsession with the OpenSUSE project. And with me today, I got a fantastic bundle of people. I've got Ben, I've got Dale from low-tech Linux fame, Eris, Jinda, and Shasten, a new face here. Nice to see new faces. How is everybody?
Excellent.
Well, be sure to do the straw poll if you haven't done so already. What do you feel? How do you feel about DD? Do you get anxiety from it? So check out that straw poll and figure out, or tell us how you feel about the DD. So on the docket for today, we have our we'll have application appetizer. We've got a community free pour, and we'll do that straw poll to kick it off. But first, what have you been doing in Linux and tech? Dale, when we were talking before the show kicked off, you had some exciting news for me anyway, and I'll take it. It's about OpenSUSE and their package manager. So go ahead and tell everybody how that is.
So OpenSUSE recently announced that they're enabling parallel downloads in Zypper, which means should be faster. And it's not enabled by default, but there is a way to activate it. I'm going to include the link in the YouTube channel for that news article from OpenSUSE. And I did a test because I was curious, and that's what I do. And I also made a video of it on my YouTube channel. I'll also link that on, and it explains how I did the test and shows everything I did. What I did basically is installed Tumbleweed in a virtual machine, duplicated it so that they were exactly the same. And then I ran a DUP without parallel downloads. There's 67 packages. The download and the install got done in a minute and 33. And with parallel downloads, same 67 packages was done in a minute 18. Then to stress it a little bit more, I installed Steam. There were 235 packages, and without parallel download, it finished in 2 minutes 14. And the same with parallel download, the same 235 packages took 54 seconds. That's an amazing difference.
Yeah, that's drastic.
So,
I can't. I'm guessing, just completely guessing, that they'll probably enable that by default in a couple of weeks.
So I guess my question is, and I'll mind you, I've been an OpenSUSE. I don't want to say fanboy necessarily, but let's just go ahead and.
I am.
I have an almost unhealthy obsession with the project.
I'm surprised you ever heard of it. You never mentioned it.
I know, right?
Damn.
So I kind of wonder what took so long.
I know, right?
So it's not like it was something that hasn't been desired for a while. And I'm not like in that area. I'm not as active like in the news mailing list as I used to be, because work has kind of taken me from that. But I kind of wonder, like, what took so long. I understand on the installation process why that's got to be longer. I mean, because the way it handles the actual installation process is very methodical. You know, maybe it could be done in parallel too. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know these things. But the yeah. So I guess I kind of wonder, like, parallel downloads doesn't seem like that is all that, you know. I mean, I think, didn't they used to do parallel downloads a long time ago? I could have, or maybe there was somebody else that initiated that. Maybe that was Mandrake back in the day. I don't know. I can't remember all this stuff anymore.
I know
Anyway.
OpenSUSE Tumbleweed's been working on it for, it seems like 4 or 5 years now, and I'm like you. I don't understand why it's quite so difficult.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's great news. Because typically people they kind of sort of complain about the time it takes to do updates in OpenSUSE, and I get it. I get it. Like, if you compare it to Pac-Man, I should say the compared to like Arch and how fast that works. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yes.
Solus also quite impressive.
Mm.
Apt, I guess it's meh. DNF seems to be pretty quick too. Used to mean does not finish, I think, but Zypper's always been very reliable. That's one thing I've really liked about Zypper, is just the reliability of it.
It seems like Fedora was really slow not too long ago, and then it's much faster now with DNF.
Yeah, for sure. DNF is faster than Yum.
Yeah.
That's pretty darn cool. So to activate it, according to I got the news article. I'll link in the show notes. But the to activate it permanently, can you just do it in the zip configure file too, or is it set someplace else?
I think it's set somewhere else. I think I was reading in the mailing list, and I should have been a little bit more prepared. But I think it's in the mailing list that shows how to enable it a little bit more permanently.
Okay.
I don't want to personally enable it more permanently because I want to know when they make it default or
Right.
they turn it on.
Right. Makes sense. I mean, it is a pretty substantial improvement. So it's pretty great. That is pretty great. Well, good deal. That's exciting news, especially for me. And then, another thing, can you share the links to your the article you wrote in the Zoom meeting? Because I don't have you configured to be able to share links on the YouTube yet. So I got to give you the I got to give you the keys. So we'll take care of that though today.
Okay, I'll send them right to you.
All right, fantastic. Well, good deal. I'm excited. It's exciting news. All right. So I guess we'll go ahead and move on to the Strawpoll. So I don't know, Eris, if you want to take that on.
I guess I'll give some time for everybody to finish voting, and I'll say the replies. First was the fact that the system drive is /dev/NVMe0 and 1, and regular external drives are /dev/SDA messes me up every time. And then somebody else says 1 isn't low enough. There should be negative numbers allowed. Wink, laughing. I don't know why it is so complicated. Input and output, read in parentheses input the ISO and write it to USB stick output in parentheses. Use DMESG after inserting the USB stick, and it will show the /dev/ID or LSBLK TAC A. And then somebody else said, the fact that I wiped out a 4 terabyte drive of all my backups years ago terrifies me. Laugh out loud.
Yes, I can see that. That would terrify me too.
So
now I have to say, I just want to throw in my reply on this that I didn't reply, but I have never messed up a drive with DD. I have, however, messed up multiple drives with graphic utilities. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just not very smart.
I did get a reply from Vince. I can't post this though because he has like this little TLDR to DD, and he has a way to make a bootable USB drive from ISO hybrid file, and then he has the command there, and he has to clone a drive to another drive with 4 MIB block size and flush writes before the command terminates. He has that command, and then he has generate a file with specific number of random bytes by using kernel random driver. And finally, he has a command for benchmark the write performance of a disk. And he posted that in the Zoom chat, if anybody wants to check that out.
All right.
Cool.
Here, I'll copy the link for Telegram in case anybody wants to check that out.
All right.
And as far as the voting goes, let me see.
Everybody loves a straw poll.
The number one answer was 1, minimal anxiety with 25%, followed by 7 with 18%, then 2 with 11%, 8 with 11%, 10 maximum anxiety with 11%, 0 have never used TD with 7%, 3 7%, 5 4%, 6 4%, Tux Penguin 4%, and no votes for 4 and no votes for 9.
A hot dog. So what about you, Eris? Did you have anxiety with DD?
Yeah, I always get a little bit of anxiety. I would say like at 7.
Oh,
Like
okay.
I'm not, yeah. I try to double check it because I haven't, it hasn't happened to me. I will say it did happen to me one time with RM uh records what is it? Remove.
RMRF recursive
Yeah,
flash.
I did get some files, but it was because I think I was using a distro and it defaulted to using the last previous folder. I thought I was in the home drive or something like that, and it was completely my fault. But of course, I wasn't expecting it to place me somewhere in the wrong place. Yeah, but yeah, you should always double check, like they say, like measure probably get not even 2 times, 3 times, and then only cut once.
Yeah, measure 4 times and cut 1 year for sure. For sure. Yeah, I noticed that the comment there about the NVMe 0 and 1.
Hmm.
So yeah, because typically, obviously, his system
Yeah,
drives
because
NVMe.
the NVMe has a completely different naming convention
Right,
than the SATA drives.
right, or USB, which I think goes onto the SATA bus or something like that. I think that's why it's
Hmm.
S. Did anybody here ever use DD on an HDA, or am I gonna be the only one on that?
What?
Nope.
Hard disk.
HD?
Yeah,
A hard
disk.
disk?
Hard drive, no.
yeah. You had to have done this a long time ago, like
Yeah.
IDE drives.
Yep.
Oh yeah, actually I did because I had to do a backup of the CNC machine and it had an antique hard drive in it,
Yeah,
and I had to plug a billion adapters in it to actually hook it up to a modern PC to get it to work.
that's awesome. And
I mean, the scary thing about it is what I was so scared to do it. What I did was I just made an image of it, and then backed the image up to another drive. I didn't try to do anything other than just take data off of it because I was really nervous. Because we gave it to our IT department, and our IT department decided that would be a good idea to try to use, I think, Clonezilla, and it didn't work. Why, I don't know.
yeah, it's kind of one of those things. Sometimes the graphical tools just kind of don't work. I've never used Clonezilla. Is it?
Neither
work
have I. I've never used it either.
I've used Clonezilla. Works well. I would always make sure it did work though. Before you go erasing the original.
I've
'Cause
used
there
DD
are
to-
times that people have had failures for some, I don't know, for some reason.
Oh yeah. I've used DD to clone disks, but I've never used Clonezilla. Maybe it's just a front end for DD. I don't know.
I would think so.
It probably uses it somewhere. I mean, DD is used in a lot of ways and indirectly.
Right. Yeah. A lot of the scary tools, the most powerful tools, seem to be the wrapped around somewhere in the whole schema of things. Well, cool. All right. I guess we go ahead and roll right into the application appetizer because DD is so scary, which that was such a great straw poll for this.
It's like my worst nightmare in the Linux world.
DD.
Yeah, in a lot of cases, yes. Every time I have to use it, I cringe.
So why? But you have to.
Well, there are some times, but I just sort of I shiver when I think about using it, Jinder.
I don't blame you. I would too, but you have to do it.
Well, sometimes you just have to man up and do it, I guess.
Yeah.
Just for the record, don't get the if and the of backwards. Ask me how I know.
Yeah, well, yeah, that you're right.
Yeah.
Oh shoot.
Yep. It happened.
That sounds really damn scary. I would hate to be on the other end of that incident.
Happened a long time ago, but yep, it happened.
I've never made a tragic mistake like that, but I can see how it can be done.
Yeah.
I was in a hurry and just wasn't thinking it
Yeah.
through.
No, I totally understand.
Yeah.
I totally get it.
That is really
It's like those the things you do in a hurry because you've done them so many times you don't really think about it. This is not the problem.
Yes.
Those are the ones that always get me.
Yeah, that's how it happened.
Yeah, this part's easy, and then you miss the boat, as it were.
Yeah.
All right, so for our application appetizer this week, we decided on doing ISO writing apps because DD is so scary, I guess. The
Oh my word.
different applications out there for writing ISOs or images. I can say like IMG files as well too. If I kind of those count too, I guess. So what is the most popular way to replace DD with a graphical tool? And one of them that I use quite a bit because I am also a fan of Raspberry Pis is the Raspberry Pi Imager. It has grown quite a bit over the years from being a very simple application to being something that's very, I would call it, fantastic because it has the ability to, you can pull down the image for the specific piece of hardware that you want. Then you can configure all the things that you need. So, what you want to connect to, like your Wi-Fi, like if you need to connect automatically to a specific Wi-Fi SSID, and then put the username, all the password in there. You can change the username to whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be Pi. Also, you can activate SSH if you want to, right out of the imager as well. It was a hidden option at one time. Now it's something you can easily get. Now it's an exposed option, your expert options, and it just makes building or very quickly like deploying a Raspberry Pi very easy if you don't have your own image that you deploy. But you can do that. So it has it's something that I think if you're going to use create images on, I use it for just like SD cards, and it doesn't matter. I've done non-Raspberry Pi images as well. So like a BeagleBone board that I have, a BeagleBone Black that I use to power some things specifically. I've also used the Raspberry Pi Imager for that because it just works and it's a nice simple interface. And I'm sure there's other better options, but that one, I don't know. I just really like it. It's nice. Did anybody here ever use the Raspberry Pi Imager?
More than once. They got it down to a science. They really do. They got it pretty good. But the first time I used it, has anybody ever used Universal USB Installer by Pendrive Linux? It
No.
reminded me of that a lot.
That sounds familiar.
Once,
Yeah.
but not since.
Yeah, I can put a link in the chat. It to me it seemed very similar to that. That idea of how it works to me was very similar to it. In
I've
other
never heard of
words,
this one.
Whoever wrote this software was probably looking at this when they did it.
Gotcha. I'm gonna have to look at this right now. I am curious.
Yeah, it's one of the ones I used to use on Windows a lot. It was a lot easier on because Windows is a pain to do years ago to be able to do this, and this was an easy way to be able to make it. And you could download the ISO right from this. You don't have to download the ISO. You just pick which ISO you wanted and it would download it for you, just like the Raspberry Pi imager.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's neat. I do like the looking at the what you just linked, how it tells you what the process that's going through, like what it's actually doing at that time. That I think is pretty neat. I like the non-obfuscation of what's going on underneath the hood. Be able to see what's going on.
You can actually do that with DD, in case you weren't aware of. There's an option for status. You can provide status.
Yep. I think does it just give like a graph also, or does it also do like a verbose, telling you what it's doing?
I know status equals progress is more just verbose on how much it's written, how much is left, kind of thing.
Okay.
Do any of you use Fedora Image Writer?
That's what I tend to use mostly.
Yeah, yeah. That's even when I used Arch Linux, that was the one that was like the most reliable. But I've since switched to I mean Fedora Linux, so I usually use that.
So that was also on my list of things that I use. In fact, I kind of find that one to be one of the best ones just because it is so simple. I don't care about the installing Fedora necessarily. I mean, I do, but that's not primarily why I use it. I like it because it makes it really easy to just get to just you can you pull it in and it works. And I recently just went back to using this one a little bit more than what I'd been using, which is next on the list, because I was having some problems with that, like not producing good images. And I don't know if like the Fedora Image Writer does it review the data too, or is it just write it and go?
I think
It does review.
at one point it didn't, I think. It will do it for Fedora images, I think. But if it's not a
Okay.
Fedora image, I'm not sure if they have enabled that for it to check something. Before it wasn't doing that for anything that wasn't Fedora.
Yeah, it is made for Fedora images specifically, but it works pretty good for pretty much everything else. And in fact, I had the exact same problem every time I would install Fedora, like 50% of the time I'd use a different image writer and it wouldn't actually burn on my USB correctly. So I didn't realize that that's because it was specifically like if you're going to use Fedora, you should use the Fedora image writer. Like it never occurred to me that way because I'd use something else and like half the time it would work and half the time it wouldn't.
I did find that one of my issues that I had was the USB drive I was using had some bad blocks on it, so
Oh yeah.
that is also can be an issue as well.
Yeah.
So the did anybody here use Fedora, or has somebody else here used the Fedora Media Writer? No. Okay, so just
No.
Shasten and me. Looks like. But that's a
Well,
good one.
I used it.
Oh, you used it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so three of us, just the three of us. Yeah, it's a good one. It's a solid application. You can get it from FlatHub, I should say, and works great. So another one that I recommend, although I think I may have had some problems with it. I know I have to figure it out. It could have been the flash drive that was actually that was my actual problem, not the application. But the KDE ISO Image Writer, also available as a flat pack.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I use that one a lot.
And I happen to like that one because it's also a very simple interface. It's very very neutral. You can use it with whatever. And it also I think all these applications now, they don't allow you to select your internal drive, which is good. Because I think that was once a problem. Although it would you would figure that out real quick. So that one what go ahead.
We had a question in the chat. What is DD? DD is from Unix, and I'll just read what it says in Wikipedia, just to cut it short. DD is a shell command for reading, writing, converting file data. Originally developed for Unix, and has been ported to Unix-like OSs, Windows, Plan 9, and Inferno.
I never knew that's what it was. I always just thought it was to copy ISOs to hard drives and hard drives to ISOs. That's all I ever thought it was.
What's Plan 9? Should I know that?
Planet 9, that's
I think that's instead of using GNU Coreutils, you can use Plan 9, right? I think
Oh.
that's like an alternative.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Understood. All right. So the KDE ISO Image Writer, I liked it so much I even wrote an article on keeping.com with it or about it. But I like it because when you plug it in, it immediately says it'll actually show you the drive as soon as you have it plugged in. What I don't like about it is you can't drag and drop an ISO to it, which is unfortunate. But you just click on it and go to the file path, and the process is very straightforward from there. So yeah, I also feel like it's very clear about what you're putting it onto. It'll say with the authentication dialog, it'll say, authentication is required for this device. I'm appreciative of that, and it's also just simple. I don't know what it uses in the back end, maybe DD. I don't know. I didn't look into that. I probably should have. So what else? What other ISO imaging tools have you all used?
Well, of course, we all used, I'm hoping, disks, Gnome disk utility.
Yeah.
I've
I
never
think
used
we've
it.
all I think
No, I've
everybody,
never used it either.
really? Oh my God.
I've used it once, Jinda. It was not a pleasant experience, dude.
Oh, to me, it works fantastic. I've never had an issue with it. It tells you all the information on the drive. You can make ISOs from it. That's how I backed up and copied my Windows 10 machine once. I mean, I've never had an issue with it at all.
With that one, yeah. Well,
I guess it's hit or miss. I mean,
yeah, most tools like that tend to be hit or miss. Now, the one I personally use is either Etcher, Rufus on Windows sometimes, or I use Ventoy sometimes too. But Ventoy I only use if I'm carrying more than one ISO. That's it.
Yeah, many years ago when I was still using Arch Linux in the AUR, that I couldn't install an application to burn an image, so I ended up writing a bash script to do it and using Zenity to read the available disk drives and that sort of thing. And I actually wrote a bash script to actually burn my ISOs.
I mean, that's kind of cool, I think.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
So it was like a terminal interface. You could write when you wanted, or yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it used a Zenity, so it actually used like a GUI, a graphical user interface. But yeah.
But a terminal one. Okay.
Yeah.
Is Zenity like Ncurses? Is it kind of the same sort of thing?
Yeah, very similar. Yeah.
Okay. So, is it BalenaEtcher? Is that what it's called?
BalenaEtcher, yes.
BalenaEtcher.
I used to use it all the time because it's safe because it doesn't let you do like your main drives. It only do external drives.
Mm-hmm.
But ever since what is it, Tails, they stopped recommending it because there was telemetry that you couldn't turn off, I think, and then they patched that afterwards. But people stopped recommending it because of that.
Somebody mentioned Unetbooten. I haven't heard that
in a
decade.
I haven't heard about that.
Oh wow, that's an old one.
NetBoot.
I haven't heard about that in years.
That's a long one, yeah. Ever since Ventoy came out, I've kind of stopped
same.
so much. I mean, nothing against any of these guys, but Ventoy to me is just so much easier.
Right.
I haven't used I don't think I've used Ventoy. I should probably try it out.
I would look into it, Shasten, because
because you can just format your flash drive and then dump them right in it and put it in another directory, and you can still use it as a regular flash drive.
So,
absolutely.
I used Ventoy for quite a while. Like that was my main thing for ISOs, but I started having like issues where certain ISOs just wouldn't boot, and then it would.
Well, yeah, you have to update it because naturally you have to update it.
Yeah.
When I did a Windows 10 install, it was the only way I could get Windows 10 to install. And like I asked the IT guys, and I said, "Hey guys, I'm having a hard time writing Windows 10 to a flash drive. It's just being a pain. And I said I used Ventoy and it worked perfect. And their answer is, "How did you know about Ventoy?" That's pretty much all I got out of them. I'm like, okay, thanks guys for helping me out.
Tell
Yeah.
because you know so you tell me that says you say to them, "I know more than you realize."
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
just, then just walk away.
No, they just call the company and just they ask for me and go, "Put him on the phone, tell me what the hell's going on," because I don't want to talk to anybody else because they know I know what's going on.
Exactly.
So YouTube chat, Carlos is mentioning Popsicle, which is the USB burner from um
Pop OS.
what is it? Pop OS. There we go. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Let's look at Popsicle.
It's like the one of the simplest ones. There it is.
Do you have to have a USB drive that looks like a Popsicle too for that?
I think you get like achievement unlocked if that's the case.
All right. Yeah, it does look nice and simple. Wait, you can do multiple devices at once?
That I don't know.
Yeah.
Did they say that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
supports multiple devices. Well, yeah, that's what it says.
yeah, that's really
And you
neat.
can use the you can input it gives you the hash when you put the image in, so that way you can check your checksum right away.
Yeah.
That's really pretty neat. Pop OS Popsicle. Huh. So if you need to create multiple drives of something, what it might be, you could do that from here.
Popsicle, that's interesting. I don't I don't use the Gnome desktop, and I don't know. I've tried Cosmic a little bit, but I never really tried that. I'd like to check that out, actually.
I think that's one of the things that the premium etcher did.
Oh yeah.
You could do like multiple
Hmm.
drives at the same time.
Well, if you have multiple Ventoy disks, you could do that at the same time as well.
Yeah.
Just saying.
That's good, yeah.
Has anybody ever burned an ISO to be able to load Ventoy into your USB drive? Or anybody done that? I did that.
So you use the
There's an ISO for Ventoy that
Okay.
you can boot up, and then
Oh, wow.
you can easily then install Ventoy into another drive. So you don't have to because sometimes it gets kind of complicated that way because of the drives. But
Right.
yeah.
So you boot the so you have to burn the ISO.
Yeah, you burn the ISO to a USB key, I guess. You could burn it, I guess, to a CD if you have that.
Okay.
And then you boot that.
Oh, you
And
boot from
then
that.
yeah, you boot from that, and then all it does is says, okay, where do you want to install? It pops up Ventoy, and it says, where do you want to install it?
Yeah.
It's pretty simple once you have the burned ISO. I think much simpler than how you gotta give it write permissions or something when you download the file, the executable.
So I could put it on the ISO on my Ventoy disk, launch it, and then format my ISO disk to update it.
Yes.
I don't know, I guess.
I'm asking. I ain't trying it yet, but
Yeah.
So I suppose there you could install that on like a virtual machine and then or run that
You
from a
can do that
virtual
too.
machine. Yeah.
And you
then
just give access to your USB
the
key.
OneDrive, yeah,
Right.
pass through.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Okay.
That's kind of neat.
I think we got Nate intrigued.
Of course, but I'm easily intrigued. So that's kind of easy. That's low hanging fruit. So tested ISOs, Linux. Oh, that's a lot. Chrome OS, other. So I think long ago, maybe not so long ago, a few years ago, someone they bought a brand new laptop, but the installation of Windows was already borked on it, and he needed some specific Windows applications, and I wasn't about to push Linux on it, and I tried to from Linux, tried to make a Windows ISO. It didn't work. So
Yeah.
the only way to make it work was to use Ventoy.
Yeah, I couldn't get Windows 10 to do it either. Like I said before, I don't know why. Windows 10.
You
I could
need
not-
I think Rufus. Rufus is the
Okay.
the
Rufus
key
is
way to do a
Rufus
Windows
is a good
drive.
answer for that. Yeah.
Yeah, Rufus is pretty rad, really.
Yeah.
So for
Rufus,
those-
although from what I know, it only runs in a Windows environment.
It does, and I know this is Linux Saloon, but I'm also all about sharing information. So because I work in a mixed environment of Windows and Linux, no Mac, I have to image Windows machines, and Rufus. I didn't know about Rufus. It was actually given, the information was provided by my son, who said you can build an image with Rufus, and it allows you to set specific things to make it a lot easier I set some parameters, so my default image for installing in the environment was a little more consistent, and that was pretty cool.
Rufus
So
is
You're
a
gonna have a
good,
very smart.
good app, I think.
Sorry, I was
Yeah.
going to say
Because it also
I was gonna
can
say
pull down the
needs,
ISO automatically, or it can pull it if you already
Yeah.
have the ISO. You can just take it and it goes through the process. It's a nice step through.
um,
I think the interface is a little bit confusing. It's like you're not really sure. Are you supposed to like for me? Once you understand how it works, it's fine. But the initial, like for a
Yeah.
brand new user, there might be some slight hurdles because you're not really sure. You would think you'd have to say where you're going to download it from or where you're going to pick from locally, but that doesn't happen until the next step, and whatever. But yeah, Rufus is pretty great for you Winders folks. If you like the Winders,
Yeah. Also, just a Mac tip out there, Nate. For all you Mac folks out there, yes, Rufus
all three of you.
does work on Mac OS. No, wait, not Rufus, Etcher. Excuse me. Dang it.
Etcher. Okay.
Etcher works on a Mac, so. But Benji here was wrong. Do not count on Rufus working on a Mac. It doesn't. Sorry.
Chris,
So
I
don't take
would,
Ben's word on that.
Yeah.
I'm wrong.
yeah, I think if I had a Mac, I would drop kick it.
Drop kick it, dude. Holy okay.
Or I would deface it by putting Linux on it.
No, that I could totally understand. Now, speaking from personal experience, that is a bit more of a pain in the rear than doing it on a Windows machine.
I wonder if you could get Rufus working with wine. Would that work? Would that work?
I have no experience with that, so I could not tell you.
that
But
would
that
definitely be
is
interesting.
something that would be kind of interesting to look at. Yeah.
Mm.
But
I wonder if that would work. That would be
Interesting.
it would be neat to give it a try.
Or bottles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. What is that front end for wine? I
So
guess?
bottle seems cool. I just could never really get it to work for
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
And
me
if I
too.
could overcome that, it would be amazing.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know what they use bottles for, to be honest. I still haven't figured it out because every exe application I've tried to open with it, it doesn't open. I have better luck with wine.
I use Crossover Linux, or Crossover Office, whatever it's called. That's what I
Oh,
use.
okay.
I have been for quite a while. It's a commercial paid product, but they basically work on the wine project, so it's my way of contributing back.
That's cool.
Yeah, I haven't renewed my crossover account, and I don't know how daggone long.
I was able to run bottles to run uh the GRC DNS benchmarking app that Steve Gibson made. So that worked for me with bottles, I think. Last time I checked. And then in case anybody's wondering, that's a Windows app he made that it tells you what your fastest DNS provider could be, and you can assign like additional ones if you had like a local DNS server.
Mhm.
Like if you hire a Pi-hole, you can benchmark that against external DNS server.
Interesting. So if your Pi-hole is slow, then you'll know when you run the benchmark. That's neat.
I feel a lot better now knowing that I'm not the only one that can't get bottles to do much of anything.
Yeah, I tried 3 or 4 exe applications and they didn't open, and actually 3 of them opened with wine. So
Oh,
I'll just leave it at that.
yeah. I mean, wine, vanilla seems to be more foolproof to me than any of these front ends.
Hey.
That's
I think at this point, if I'm going to run a Windows application, there's not very many I run anymore. 'Cause I just don't have the need. But like Office 365, for work.
yeah.
And that I use Crossover for that. And then any
Right.
games that are Windows are pretty much either launched through Heroic or Steam. So that's all been obfuscated away from me at another level. So I don't know. I just don't.
Yeah.
At this point, pretty much everything just seems to run. Pretty much. So. Are there any other tools? I don't see if there's anything else. Oh, Play on Linux. That's another one. An oldie but goodie. Play on Linux. I've used that one.
It's old, but it still works to a degree. I don't know how well, but
So, I can't remember. Is it Zoe Ronan or Zoe Ronan? He says Winamp works in bottles.
It works in
Winamp.
wine too, I think. Yeah, but yeah,
And
good to know.
Carlos says the only reason I have to run Windows 11 is because of the Adobe suite. It does not work well in Linux. I tried Proton, Wine, containers, and VMs. Yeah, I'll run it in a VM. At least I have.
Yeah.
I did some work.
Right.
I did some. I don't want to say I did graphical design work. I did graphical cleanup work with the Adobe Creative Cloud stuff, and I try to use Inkscape, but it just didn't quite cut the mustard on this particular job. So unfortunate, but what can you do?
Yeah. I don't know. Like with virtual machines, I think Virt Manager is really good for running Windows. I run Windows for my day job on through Virt Manager. It works pretty good. Works better than Oracle, and it's open source.
I run
Throwing a little shade on Oracle there.
I run a Windows machine because I have to. But I have a Linux machine and a Windows machine, and the Linux machine drives the Windows machine because I don't use much on Windows, just a couple applications. And I think hopefully going here forward pretty soon I won't need to use Windows anymore.
Yeah.
Well, there's still gonna be one application need it, so I'll leave it. But I'll virtual machine into Windows like servers and such that I have going on.
Oh yeah, that's
That virtual machine.
Yeah.
RDP. I mean, I think I hit in the head. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
RDP.
no.
yeah,
I gotcha.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So StevesVeryOwn says, I'm having a nice experience on Windows 11. I still think that's an April Fool's joke, but hey, that's cool.
Yeah,
Well,
I think he would be the only one because
it would be the only one, if not one of the few, that actually enjoys the operating system.
I've been having like a rash of update failures in the enterprise environment because when we pull the updates down, where I don't know what's going on, but some machines fail to boot, and
He's running Windows because he wants to cheaper.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry for you.
I thought you were gonna say,
I
Nate,
pray for you.
I thought that you were gonna say you had a Windows rash, and I'm like, what is that?
It's
No,
when you run Windows too much.
That's how you know you've had Windows for too long.
So it's I could go really crude with that. So I'm gonna try and clean up a little bit. So if you ever had kids and like babies, you have to change the diaper immediately or they'll get a rash. That is kind of like how Windows feels if you don't. change
Yeah.
off of it, I think, too quickly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, well, he would be the only one running Windows 11 and having a good experience.
No.
Don't run like open source software or a virtual machine because it doesn't work. At least not on my
Doesn't
machine.
work too well.
I will say, I will say, I think, I know there's like and we're totally going way off subject here, but that's okay.
Way off the rail.
I will say, from a user experience, like just using it, I think Windows 11 might be the best version of Windows.
I
my
don't
God.
disagree. I don't disagree, actually.
I will
It
say-
is actually lighter than 10, so I might agree with that.
Now, the Copilot and some of the weird things out there, but there's I'm a little concerned about the privacy aspect of it. I think you have none with Windows 11, so it's not really like an operating system I would trust. But I would say I have my machine that I have at work. I put Windows 11 on it. It's not supposed to have it, but it's not supported, but it works. I find that the Explorer is way better now. Like for going, like the File Explorer is way better because they have tabs finally. It's like, they finally got caught up to KDE 3 from like 2004. So that's really nice. It took them 21 years or 20 years to get to it, but they finally got there. So that's actually pretty nice. A lot of Plasma or KDE applications are available in the Windows App Store. So I've augmented a lot of applications on Windows 11 with like Ocular for my my PDF reader. I do have Dolphin installed, but I can't do certain things with it, but I do use it. And there's a few others too. So I
Well,
would say
Steve is. Oh, sorry. I was going to say Steve is casting a little shade here. He said it could be worse. I could be running StormOS.
Oh, dang!
Shots fired.
Shot fired at Benny here, huh?
Yeah, it might be deserved.
Shots fired.
Shots fired at the developer. Oh my God. That's a good one, Steve. Now you're really setting the April Fool's joke bar a little high, my friend.
Well, I think he means it.
Oh, he probably does.
Steve.
We pray for you, Steve.
But anyway,
Unfortunately,
I don't know what he's so convinced by Windows for, but each their own.
It's just that he runs OBS and he has more plugins available to him in Windows.
Oh, hey, it's I'm not gonna fire shots back if he's.
I'm understanding this question here from Zoe Ronan. You mean you like ADS in your file manager? What's ADS?
Ads? Is there ads in?
I don't know. Maybe
Ads. Oh my God.
I mean, there's probably telemetry. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe ads.
Have you guys? How many of you tried Linus? Or no, Titus? What is it? Titus. Chris Titus's Windows tooler that removes
I
everything.
actually have,
Yeah.
and it does help debloat it to an immense degree.
Yes.
Yeah, it really works.
Yeah. Chris Titus Tech. That's what I was trying to think.
Yeah, it really does work.
Titus
It's
Tech.
actually pretty good.
Like a
Yeah.
tiny. I've done like
It
the Tiny
makes,
Core Windows. Oh, is it Tiny Core? No. What is it? There's some like minimalist Windows 11. You can like strip out all the superfluous bits, and then it runs great for a while, but then it starts to get blue screening. I have a my son
had
installed
that
it on
same problem.
a fourth gen iCore or something Intel machine. And
So
it,
I was curious
which is
about
crazy.
trying it out,
Yeah.
but you said it starts having problems over time.
I've
This-
never had problems with it, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's a different thing. It's a different.
Oh, it's a different
Yeah,
thing.
that's a different
Okay.
thing.
So now, have you found it to actually be majorly less lighter than regular Windows 11?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, by a dang mile, yes.
Yeah, it's certainly
Like
lighter.
more responsive?
No.
No,
Okay.
I mean, I gotta tell you, his tool is a freaking godsend for Windows users. That's all I'm
Like
gonna say.
like the biggest annoyance, which it doesn't change. I don't know how everyone else uses their desktop environments, but I search my applications. So like I'll hit the meta key and I'll type for searching, whatever. And one of the issues I have on Windows machines is it will miss the first or second letter when you start typing. You actually have to wait because there's no buffering going on in the menu. So everything as it's doing its little fun little animation, anything you type at that moment, it gets lost. Maybe they'll fix it. Maybe they fixed it already. I haven't had that fix yet. So that's an annoyance. So yeah, it's just little things like that to me are like.
It doesn't show that dog, right, jumping around when you search.
Oh heavens, no!
Does it? Is that like old from?
Do you remember that from Windows XP? There was a dog in searching.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
You should have had Clippy. It's just little things, little paper cut issues that are like with the interface is just kind of terrible. But I noticed that a lot of people at work complain about the tiling in Windows 11 because it too aggressively wants to make you tile. So I was with somebody in their office and they're like, "Can you turn this off?" I'm like, "I don't actually know how to turn that off." So
Yeah.
anyway,
There's a lot of things about Windows 11 to dislike.
There are some gripes, but once
Ooh.
like we said, I feel like once you run his little utility, it definitely helps make it more tolerable.
You know
That's
what I really don't like is I put my panel on the top, and you can't do that with Windows 11. Yeah, you can't do that with Windows.
I'm sure there's probably a hack for it.
That I don't like.
So
There is, but it's not. It's a little hacky. And you have to change you can't use Windows 11 panel bar. You have to use Windows 10 panel bar.
so
You have to do a tricky workaround to get that shit.
Yeah.
Donald, I might get the name wrong. Piasek. So I heard Windows is changing blue screen to black screen, and yes, that is something I've also heard. So maybe if we all keep saying the rumor over and over again, maybe it'll come true. We can
Yeah.
conjure
So
into
that now
existence.
we're gonna have the black screen of death now? Is that the deal? Instead of
Yes.
a blue screen of death, we'll have
Yeah.
the black screen of death.
I think we should. I think all operating systems should go to the blue screen of death, like Linux, Unix,
Nate.
Mac, in the same format too, with the same unhelpful information.
Yeah. Yeah.
The benefit is we can still call it BSOD.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
And then I don't know if it's Cody. I don't know if I heard this too, but also I was told it was not true. So I don't know. But he says that after CrowdStrike, they're making changes for programs not to have kernel level access. I don't know if that's true or not. I would
heard
like that
that.
to be true.
I've heard that, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
I got to see it. I got to see it in writing. But yeah, I've heard that more than one spot. And maybe that's a hopeful thinking because that would also affect games too and anti-cheat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I was using OBS the other day and like I don't know, I came across some sort of system error and I'm using Aurora DX, so it's like part of the UBlue series, and it shut down my OBS automatically. I've never seen anything like that in Linux.
Yeah.
Like it's like, hey, your OBS is malfunctioning. Click, and it just shut it down. Yeah, kind of interesting.
Well, hey, as long as you were able to get back on your computer,
Yeah, yeah. I didn't have to do a hard reset.
that's good.
Since we've I'm gonna wrap up the talk on ISO writing apps just so we can
Yes.
make it easier for my
Move
when
on,
I
yeah.
type all this stuff here. So
Bootnet
for the show
bootin'.
notes. So anyway, lots of really cool ISO image writing apps. I'll have links to all that stuff in the show notes if you want to check that out later or if that's helpful. And then I want to move on to the housekeeping here real quick, and then we can go to some open chat again and then we'll go to community free pour. So so for housekeeping, next week it's an open
Housekeeping.
mic night. My favorite housekeeping bumper that is used in any podcast is on the
Linux users, please.
that's a good one too. But it's like the retro hour. It's a oh my gosh. I just listened to it this morning. I'm even a Patreon supporter and I can't even remember the name of the stinking thing.
Epic fail on Nate's part.
It is absolutely an epic fail on my part.
Yeah.
But it's it's This Week in Retro. There we go. This Week in Retro.
Oh,
It is a great. It's got couple of great hosts. RMC, or the Retro Man Cave, it used to be called that, but now it's just RMC. And is like the host, and I've been watching him for many years, and so it's really nice if you like the latest news in out of date tech. It's a great place to go for it. Anyway, so with that said, they have great bumpers. They're very obnoxious and they're different every week, which makes me laugh. It's a little thing, just a little thing. All right, so if you have any, so next week it's an open mic night. So it's gonna be all open conversation. So if you have any discussion suggestions, feel free to share them. Also, distro suggestions for our upcoming next distro. I'm going to put out probably if you before we get there, if you have any suggestions for distros, go ahead and you can submit those. We're going to put a straw poll together for that, and see if we can get kind of what's most popular, so that we can the choosing be real quick for next week.
Oh, somebody chose Q4OS. Wow, the ultimate Windows clone.
That would be fun,
Wow.
I think.
Yeah.
Well,
But if you have any
Nate,
application
hold on.
suggestions or poll ideas, any sort of suggestions that you may have that would steer the conversation here, or something that you would find interesting, I'd be more than happy to throw that in our docket ideas.
Yeah. Well, I have an interesting bit of Ubuntu news for you
Okay,
real quick.
hold on. So yeah, you can send this to suggestions at linuxsaloon.com or in the Telegram or Discord, or even Discourse forum too. You can send those there. All right. So we're going to move on to it's a open discussion. And so Ben, you said what now?
The Ubuntu 25.04 beta has released a few weeks ago on the 27th of March. However, on the 17th, they're going to have their final build put out. So
Yeah, in fact, it's funny you say that, because that's actually the first item on the in the news and open talk. So yeah, the
good
Plucky
God.
Puffin beta is now available for testing ahead of the official release for April 17th. So it's shaping up to be an excellent 6-month non-LTS update to Ubuntu Linux, with a variety of package updates, continued install improvements, and various other enhancements throughout. Ubuntu 25.04 is powered by a brand new 6.14 kernel, which just came out the last couple weeks, I think, and GNOME 40 desktop and all its goodies. The Mesa 25.0 open source graphics drivers, Python 3.14, and assortment of other updates and changes made as covered now across numerous Phronix articles. The Ubuntu 25.04 beta release today was 27th of March. Includes the Ubuntu desktop server, cloud products, Ubuntu, Libuntu, Ubuntu Budgie, Ubuntu Kylin. Is it Kylin?
which is their Chinese version.
Yeah,
Chillin.
Ubuntu Chillin. That's with a K.
Yeah.
So K doesn't make a sound in any language I know, but
Oh,
I don't know.
well, I guess
have
it does
I
in
have no idea
China.
what the lettering has to do with the sounds, but I've heard people say chilling. I don't know.
yeah. Well, maybe the Ubuntu Chillin. We're chilling over here.
And
Ubuntu Mate, Studio, Unity, and Ubuntu flavors. So you can download those now. And probably in the future, I'm guessing there's going to be an Ubuntu distro exploration. We'll probably do a general Ubuntu, and then
Ubuntu
pick-
show, yeah.
pick your poison kind of a Ubuntu show. So,
Well, I was actually thinking for next week, maybe we could look at their beta version. What do you think?
well, we could, but I want to wait and do. Well, we'll do a straw poll on that and let the community decide,
Yeah, we'll take a look at that one.
and then we'll take a look at that. So, probably should have actually done the straw poll already, but whatever. I think that'll be fine. We'll do it, and then
It happens. We're just sort of going off the cuff with this
Yep.
one.
so we'll have a straw poll out, and then we can.
And then we can decide what we look at.
And this Ubuntu release will be less GNU than before.
Oh,
Probably.
do you have a
Yeah,
cite?
with,
Oh, good God.
Do you have a citation for that?
utils?
They're
Utils.
replacing some of the GNU libraries, core libraries, with the Rust
Coreutils?
ones.
I heard about that, Eris.
Utils, yes.
Oh my God.
So,
Yep.
I don't know anything about this. Like this is all news to me. So what
So
is
it's the new blood in this one.
Yeah, they're replacing Coreutils, all these utilities.
All these basic.
Yeah, the C, and they're replacing it, but they're not replacing it with a GPL3 license. They're replacing it with an MIT license.
Yeah.
I actually made a video on this just the other day.
do you have a
Yeah.
link to your video? Because I'd like to.
I
throw
have
in the show
the
notes as well.
article
Oh,
from
yeah.
Pronix and the
Yeah, I would
There's the
definitely.
phonics link in the chat.
Yeah, yeah, I got a link right here. Let me see here.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah.
Shareable link.
Share it in the meeting
Yeah,
chat
there's
if you could.
I got it. Yeah.
Right. So this is an interesting article, and I'm going to go ahead and was it in the list over here of?
Yeah, I just dropped you a link.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Well, this actually fascinates me. I
Yeah.
where have I been? Well, apparently not in the Ubuntu land.
Yeah, well, I shot some fire. So there's some shots fired towards Ubuntu and that sort of thing. So be warned.
I gotcha. So so Ubuntu 25.10 Rust Coreutils. So this is gonna be the next LTS then. Is that the plan? So plans been drafted.
We're
to
gonna
begin
test it
using-
before that.
It's
'Cause,
actually coming in the next update, the 2504.
Okay. So the plan's been drafted to begin using more Rust rewritten Linux system components within the Ubuntu 25.10 release due out later this year ahead of next year's all important Ubuntu 26.4 LTS release. Among the Rust components being planned for use in 25.10 is the Rust Core Utilities or UUtils software.
Yeah.
Canonical engineer John Seeger announced the plans today of
Oh, God.
oxidizing Ubuntu, Rust, and begin to make use of more Rust rewritten components.
Oh.
He cited the motivation are performance benefits as well as added safety provided by the Rust programming language. Among the Rust components initially being evaluated are the UUtils version of Coreutils. I don't know what that is.
Coreutils.
Coreutils.
Maybe it's misspelled here.
It's what the
It's Cureitle. Maybe it's misspelled. It could be Coreutils.
Coreutils.
Find utils
Yeah.
and diff utils. The Studio
Yeah.
RS software as the Rust rewritten Studio is also being evaluated. To help the testing, evaluation, and comparing of Ubuntu Linux, John Seeger's also been writing Oxidizer as an easy way to replace some of these Rust components in place of the traditional counterparts on Ubuntu. So, but Rust is Rust is MIT license?
Yes.
Not Rust itself, but the programs, the new utils. They are MIT licensed. The GNU utils are GPL3. So this would change the license of the core utils of the distro.
All right, so now I'm curious. So the Rust programming language is an Apache version 2.0 MIT license as well.
Yes.
So I guess it's still an open source license, but it's an MIT license. So why is it so? Why is it a
There's
bad thing?
no requirement for people who make changes to publish their changes like with the GPL.
Yes.
So anybody could take the code and do whatever they want with it. make proprietary code, mix it with it, and
Yeah. And the other thing is, this is kind of what gets me about it is that it's so close to like it's not exactly like it is part of the user space. So I get that part, like, but it's very close to the kernel. Like when you do an LFS, for example, like one of the first things you install is the Coreutils, diffutils, and that sort of thing. You compile those like really close to the kernel, and if they would have published this with a GPL license or a lesser GPL license, I don't think anybody would have said anything, and I certainly wouldn't have. I wouldn't care.
Hmm.
I mean, I personally have nothing against it. It's just it's going to take some time for all of us and probably all distros to, get used to this kind of thing.
like it
But
I
was
don't know.
mentioned that there has been like performance gains with this rewrite of the
yeah,
utils, but there are compatibility issues. I don't know exactly where
oh,
there's a place in this where they show how they're testing each different program and trying to make sure that it's as compatible as possible. But I don't remember where exactly there's that graph where they show you which ones aren't.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that too.
yeah,
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 I like I said, I mean, I'm pretty libertarian to most of this, but when you get
yeah,
really close to the kernel, like I think you should at least have a little bit of respect for like the FSF and stuff like that.
yeah.
And there's this huge push to redefine like the licenses and things like that. So I think this just has something to do with that. I think it's just adding to that personally.
Hmm.
I Yeah, because I mean, like if you go to like Europe, like a lot of those places, they have like real big organizations that are really trying to change the definition of the GPL license.
Yeah.
And yeah. And there's some pretty big backers. I mean, people in the Debian community, people in the Arch community, they're all behind this. And it's kind of sad because uh, I don't know. I think they're trying to push like Linus Torvalds and Richard Stallman out, basically.
Hmm. Well, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
hopefully. So I understand the issue. It can very quickly close source something, and that's kind of what Apple did with Mac OS and one of the BSDs. So, yeah, I can see that as being
Yeah.
a problem on the horizon for sure.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, if it happens, it happened. It's just how crap is.
Well, then we all jump to
BSD.
no, what's the shoot? We did it on here. Man, my brain is not working today.
Oh, haiku.
Haiku. We all jumped to haiku. That's it.
Haiku
Haiku.
project. Golly.
So some people joke that after if this is like completed, like if they were to give up the entire suite of GNU Core utils, you couldn't say maybe GNU plus Linux because it would come down to maybe glibc and maybe grub your
Oh,
GNU-ness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they'll be running system deboot pretty soon, so we
wow.
won't even have grub. I actually prefer system deboot personally, but that's another subject for another day.
For another day, yeah.
I haven't used it. I don't know how it would integrate with OpenSUSE's Snapper. If there's a Snapper integration for system deboot, then I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, system deboot is a little bit more stable, in my personal opinion.
I guess my question is, how would it system deboot deal with like Bluetooth keyboards and input devices?
I've used
Because
system
Grub
boot on
doesn't.
Arch. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good question. I've never had an issue with like Bluetooth or anything. So
Well,
everybody complains that Bluetooth is horrible on Linux,
No, I
and
think it's
I'm
great.
like, I don't know what you're talking. I think it's great too.
Yeah.
I've never had any problems with it.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it's. I think it's. I have the best.
Yeah.
Well, I would say maybe the Mac is probably a little better integrated because you can. There are keyboards and such are Bluetooth, but you can
Yeah.
manipulate the system at boot time with it. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually have a question if you use OpenSUSE. And so I do cast a lot of shade on OpenSUSE. I will admit I'm not a fan. And the reason why, and this is just one reason, okay?
Are you still upset
Every
about the
time
whole,
I've ever,
are you still upset that 2006 thing where they made a deal with Microsoft? Are you still upset about that?
no. I could care less about that.
Prepare for more sharks
every
being
time,
fired.
yeah, every time I do a hard reset on OpenSUSE, the boot grub erases. I've never had that. I mean, well, let's see. I've had that happen with OpenSUSE, and like the 3 times I've used OpenSUSE in my life, 2 of the times I've had to do a hard reset for whatever reason, and
What do you mean by hard
erased-
reset?
Like where you press a power button until it,
Shuts off?
yeah.
I've
I
had to
don't know.
do that, and I've never lost grub.
Yeah, I've
I've
never lost
lost-
grub either.
That's weird because the one time I used it in a virtual machine of all things. I like their servers and stuff, so I mean I do set up their servers sometimes, but their desktop, it's like every time I do a hard reset, that's like my one thing. There's one other distro, the only other distro that I have a problem with in that same regard is Arctic Linux. Which is, yeah, Arctic. So for whatever reason, because they're not system D or whatever, I do like I had to do a hard reset one time and it just erased the grub menu. I'm like, oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't say I've ever experienced that. I've never lost any grub anything ever. So I don't know. Something must have been happening where it was writing. Something must have been writing to grub at that time when you hard powered it off. That'd be my only.
Okay. Yeah.
That might be my only
I-
thing. I've lost grub on. Only because I had a drive failure, but that's obviously a totally separate issue, and I recovered it with like antics, but that's it.
You could delete grub too.
Oh no, I know
Oh.
that, right. Yes. You could, yeah. I mean, at that point, I think that, I mean, I didn't like Zypper either, but that was, it just sounds like, it sounds though like, sounds like Zypper is kind of getting some optimization now.
Well, I like it because it's extremely reliable. That's really the reason why I
Yeah.
like it.
Yep, absolutely reliable for a rolling release. It's very reliable.
Basically,
Yeah.
the thing I like about it is if let's say you mess your system up, you faff about too much, you can basically do a zipper dup and it'll put everything back in order for you. So it's just
Really?
oh yeah it's very nice.
And the built-in snapper rollback, I've used that a couple times, and it's very fast to recover.
Yeah, so you go to a previous snapshot. It keeps like it varies depending on how much space is available, disk space, but 5-6 different snapshots. So and they're just copy and write snapshots of your root file system. So it's kind of to me it's like the perfect blend of immutable and traditional. Kind of threads that threads that need a little bit. It treads that line.
Yeah, immutable desktops are kind of restricting, I'm finding. I just started using uBlue about 2 weeks ago, and it's a learning curve.
It's a different way of doing things for sure.
Yeah,
Bazite, I really like Bazite for
I do. Yeah,
things. So I gotta
gaming.
say,
Yeah,
yep. I gotta say, I
Outside
think
the,
the distro, the
yeah.
SteamOS distro. So I'm a fan. But all right. So unfortunately I do have to cut the show a little bit short tonight. So what I wanted to do was we'll probably do one more article here, and then we'll go into the community free pour, We have to cut it short because I got to fly out tomorrow.
No, I got it. That's okay.
And
We
so,
gotcha.
so sorry everybody for watching and listening, and I appreciate your patience with me.
It's
Okay, so what I want to cover here I thought was a very interesting article about Libinput. I don't know. That's been the. Is Libinput been the one that we've been using now for a long time?
yeah.
So Libinput 1.28 debuted today. That's today's March 24th by Red Hat's input expert Peter Hutterer. With this updated input handling library used for both Wayland and Xorg server environments. There's now support for 3-finger drag on touchpads. The main end user feature with Libinput 128 is enabling use of 3-finger drag for touchpads. Now it properly tracks drawing tablet pressure range correctly on a per tablet basis, plus various bug fixes and other device specific quirks added. Among the device quirks added in Libinput 128 are for Apple Magic Trackpad version 2 from 2024, Dell Haptics Touchpad, Razer Blade 18 2024 keyboard, ThinkPad X9 15 Gen 1, ForcePad, Lenovo ThinkBook 14 G7 Plus, IAH, and Dell laptops with Goodix touchpads. So now the part that I didn't fully understand on this one was, is it what has Plasma been doing on Wayland? Because I use like the 3-finger to go from to virtual desktops, and also 4-finger for like everything on the touchpad. So is that a hack that Plasma does, or is that something else? Or is that Libinput? Or is it just an improvement on Libinput being able to track it better?
I have no idea because I don't use my trackpad, so I have it disabled permanently.
Oh, okay. You're one of those.
Yeah, I am actually. Every time it's funny because on Arch Linux they used to have a synaptic package that would disable it while I started typing, and then it would enable it once I got done typing. And they were the only ones that had that. And then I've never been able to find that behavior in any other distro. And so I just disable it. Otherwise, like I'll be sitting there typing and it goes 3 paragraphs up or something, and it's annoying. It's especially annoying when you're writing code.
Yeah. So it looks like a quick search. So the older versions already supported multi-finger gestures through the desktop environments like KDE to implement them smoothly. The article doesn't indicate. Yeah. So I guess there already was some implementation. So this is just primarily a big refinement. So
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool.
Wow. Well, I am definitely on my Asus laptop.
Can you 3-finger scroll?
I don't know, but I might try it once I get Libinput set up. I'm gonna definitely look into that because I'm on LFS on there with Libinput installed, and I'm gonna see if Scratch Package has an update for that right now because I don't know if they already pushed it to their GitLab or their Codeberg, but I'm gonna definitely look in their repos and see if they have it. So.
Yeah. So
Ooh, Anarita's in the chat. What's up? All right.
Yeah. So anyway, neat. All right. So we'll go ahead and move on to the community free port, and then we'll do our last call. So, Ben.
Yo.
You said you wanted to talk about some change in your focus again on something?
Well, yeah. Let me try and summarize this. So what happened was Jonathan, Darren, and I had had a podcast with Shasten here some nights ago, and we spent a good 2.5 hours talking somewhat about accretion. and not to put him on the spot, but there were some, I guess you'd call differences of opinion on how that went. And what happened was Jonathan decided to drop accretion in the end, and I decided after a bit of conflicting views to, you know, keep StormOS as my main project, and that's where we left it. So, we are still working with that and that sort of thing. So,
Okay.
but
So
yeah,
you're still working with
basically,
accretion. You're still working with accretion.
no. Let me summarize this. Basically, they are partner projects now, is how it's looking. Darren's still maintaining the accretion cinnamon, and I'm still doing StormOS as my project. It's just they're under the same website. That's all that really is. So we're still helping each other out, whatever. It's just I am doing my original project is all this is.
Yeah.
Got
That's
it.
essentially how this is working.
Yeah. I kind of thought that's kind of what he should have done to begin with, because he's got
Yeah.
like like he's had like over 20,000 downloads.
26K downloads.
Yeah, so okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
So, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's been a lot of traction on his project, but he's going to their project that didn't have any
That
traction.
didn't make any sense. Yeah.
Didn't really make much sense to me either. Yeah.
Right. And it didn't
Yeah.
even make sense to my dad, who's been my biggest supporter ever since.
Yeah.
And right now there's 25,864 downloads ever since 2018 to now. So
Yeah.
there's almost 26,000 downloads of this darn thing. So yeah, there's a lot of reason to not, use their stuff versus mine.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, like,
Yeah.
the whole accretion StormOS, it's kind of interesting. I think it would be attractive to a lot of people because it's just a very simple Arch install.
Yeah.
Takes all
Yeah,
the
it takes a lot of the pain away.
yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. So as I said, guys, StormOS isn't going anywhere. It's just under a partnership now. That's all I'm trying to say.
Got it. So you're
So yeah,
still
that's
hacking away at it.
it's still being developed. Yes, and I'm actually working on this month's ISO, and hopefully it'll be up for you guys to download and enjoy very soon. And our lovely Heather is going to be one of the testers, and we'll be taking stuff from there. So, and our beloved Shasten here said he's going to.
We'll do a review. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Shasten, you'll be the first to have that done for us. So either way, yeah, that's my community update on it for this week. So
Oh, excellent. Well, thank you for that.
no worries, and expect another one here very soon once the thing is tested and done and dusted. So, all right.
All right.
So,
So again, I want to apologize. I do have to cut it short tonight for
yeah,
reasons of travel for work.
it's okay.
And so go ahead and move on to last call.
Okay.
So no technical difficulties tonight, just
Thank the Lord for that one.
life difficulties, I guess. Not really difficulties.
That's
life,
okay. You
life
do what you gotta
navigation
do.
things, Gotta try and make it in this world, I guess. Been too busy.
Yeah.
All right. We saw him for just a moment in the chat, but Steve's very own. He does some live streaming. He does it all week long now that he's retired. He's no longer working in the retail sector. So I'm doing a lot of OBS type, showing how he sets things up and neat things that he does. You can check out Steve's very own live mornings, at least on Sunday at 8:30 a.m. Central, I believe, still at that time. And then throughout the week as well.
Yeah.
If you haven't checked out the podcast Linux User Space, please do so. There are Dan and Leo are people I talk to kind of off time, not here. They sometimes visit here too, but it's a great podcast, very educational, and sometimes controversial. So I guess they have talked about the Rust controversy in the past, so you can check that out.
Yeah.
I'm on a podcast called Linux Out Loud. We just met this week for a podcast, but there may be a little bit of, might be quite a while before I have our next one because some scheduling conflicts coming up with Wendy. But you can check that out. My two co-hosts, Matt and Wendy, we talk about our tech musings, our tech tales our tantalizing tech tales. So you can check that out. We talked about Bazite. Actually, was a topic. Then also Dale, you have things going on. You recently released something.
Yeah, I'm on low tech Linux. I'm releasing videos a couple days a week and recently started doing streaming for games, like gaming on Linux, both YouTube and on Twitch. And my most recent video is the testing of the OpenSUSE Tumbleweed Zypper parallel downloads.
Very cool.
That's at youtube.com/low tech Linux.
You also have a blog as well, or a website?
Yeah, I have a WordPress website, lowtechlinux.com. Little less active on there than I'm on the YouTubes, but I do post there usually about once a month.
Okay.
Mostly notes that I want to be able to find for myself.
Yeah, that's actually what I use my site for as well. I've been very sloppy though about getting things on there, so been too busy, I guess. Sloppy or busy, I'm not really sure which. I guess if you try and do too much, you don't do much well. I think that might be what will be on my epitaph.
Yeah, I fall into that category quite a bit here lately.
Yeah. So I've been trying to concentrate on the work thing. Lots of challenges, lots of tech challenges in the last month or so, couple months. And I have a website called keepithinglate.com. Check it out. Nothing new there. I have many things almost done that I'm just trying to polish up and put out there. For like 4 weeks, I've got quite a backlog, but I guess I just gotta, maybe instead of playing games on the plane, maybe I'll finish those up and then publish them while I'm, when I got some time. All right, so Linux Saloon is part of the Tux Digital Network, so check out more great shows at tuxdigital.com. I want to thank you all for your support. How do we do it? Being a part of this conversation on the Zoom stream here. Shasten. You also have, before I go too far, I apologize. I'm going to stop myself. You also have a website or
YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Linux Dev Labs. Yeah, Linux Dev Lab. Yeah, and I am actually going to be on a podcast next week, basically defending Linux against Macintosh with Link Arzu. We're fellow NeoVim users, and that will be next Wednesday at 3 p.m. I don't know when it will come out, but it will be around there. But anyway, you might check that out as well. But my YouTube channel is Linux Dev Labs.
Linux Dev Labs. Okay.
Dev Labs. Yeah.
All right. I'll make sure we got that on here as well. So I apologize.
Yeah.
I totally messed that up. Yeah,
Thank you.
I do
You're
this.
cool.
I mess things up a lot. It's actually what I'm really good at. Pro.
I think we all are.
I'm like as the kids would say, I'm like S tier.
Yeah.
For screw
Well,
up.
after 35, I think that's what happens. I'm almost 50 now, so
Oh, you are? Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that. I can see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
All right. So
After
I'll make sure that's in the show notes too. So Shasten.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Linux Dev Labs. Yeah.
Linux Dev Labs. All right, let me do. You go by Shasten on your on the whole online thing.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
All right.
that's good.
All right.
Yeah.
Groovy.
All right.
That is rad.
Well,
All right. Well, thank you so much for being
having
here.
me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And sorry for
I
skipping over
thoroughly.
you.
No, you're cool. So anyway, yeah, and I subscribe to your channel, so I'm looking forward to seeing more of
All right.
your content as well.
You probably put us over that 1,000 mark. So all right. Awesome.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
I'm pretty close there too. So.
So
Right.
yeah. Again, thank you for being here, Shasten, on the Zoom meeting, and everyone else, Jinda, Eris, and Dale.
Yeah.
Much appreciate being here. And those of you in the YouTube stream, I appreciate, or YouTube chat, I appreciate you being there as well and watching us live. So I do really enjoy the interaction with the YouTubes. So I want to thank everyone involved in making the Linux and open source tools possible for us to not only have this conversation, but also to have fun and enjoy technology. Linux truly puts personal back in a personal computer. Thank you for stopping by. Be sure to tip your developers, and please remember to Linux responsibly. Until next time, see yous.